Hi friends, basic pistol optic operations today. Again, our third part in a series on how to use your pistol mounted optic, how to become proficient with it. The biggest thing that people have a hard time with when they drive the gun out there, they don't see the optic, and today we're gonna fix that. Today's video is brought to us by Mantis. The Mantis family of products is integral to ASP staff building handgun and carbine skills and are your most economical and fastest path to improvement in your skills too. Whether you choose the X10, the Laser Academy, the Blackbeard, or use them all in concert, they will help your practice be more effective, efficient, and fun. Go check them out, pick up a unit, and thank them for sponsoring today's video. So I know a lot of people say that the pistol mounted optic is unforgiving. Okay, now why is it unforgiving? Well, it's not any less forgiving than iron sights, quite frankly. I think that there's a mental block that says either it's there or it's not, but quite frankly, if your dot is out of the window, guess what? When you drove the gun out there, your irons were out of the window as well. Some people though, they kind of can like guide the irons in there. It just takes them a lot of time, whereas they have a little harder time doing that with the optic because their presentation is maybe inconsistent, maybe not always the same, i.e. inconsistent and a little bit sloppy. We're gonna fix that today and give you a repeatable platform, a repeatable path to get the dot on target. Now this is gonna take you a little bit of work. And I'm gonna tell you that when I first learned this, the first time that I kind of got this path, I got it from Scott Jedlinski. You know, it's taught by a number. My favorite red dot instructors today, certainly Brian Hill is right up there. AJ Zito does a great job as well. Tim Herron knows how to run the red dot, awesome. Riley Bowman knows how to run a red dot like crazy. I mean, all these guys are really, really good at what they do. So my big thing here is to get a consistent dot presentation, because here's the thing, a lot of times people, well, I hold a gun in my hand as they go, okay, I want the gun to be flat here, so I want it to be nice and steady and flat, and then I want it to stay flat while it comes up here. Or they get this kind of weird old school thing where they go, I want the gun to come up here into my sights as early as possible, so I have a dot, so then I can see out here like that. I think that's a little bit old school and very hard for most people because coming up here and out, so doing that L shape kind of, you know, if I'm here, this weird L, like kind of like this, is a very odd thing. What we generally teach instead is an elevator, okay? So where does that elevator start? Well, you know, we get the gun out of the holster and put our hands together. Where do we put our hands together? We play the children's game. If we're happy and we know it, clap our hands. If I'm happy and I know it, clap my hands. So where do I put together? Where you do that, play the game with yourself. If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. And once you clap your hands, that's where your hands come together. For me, that's about right here. It might be here for you, might be here, might be a little bit higher, but wherever you are kind of used to giving someone a round of applause, that's where you put your hands together on the gun. And again, you'll see that's about the same place for me, right? So now I've drawn the gun from the holster and I put two hands on the gun. It's below my line of sight. We talked last time about the fact that our front sight is now our target. So we maintain that target focus and then we elevator the gun up into our line of sight. Now I'm gonna show you the path that I learned how to do this that I think provides for a very repeatable presentation of the dot. And I like to think of it as throwing a free throw. So I'm gonna show you where you're gonna end up. Then at the end, I'm gonna show you the path to getting there, which is actually doing it in reverse. Bear with me, okay? So here is my particular path. I start with the muzzle slightly elevated. I'm not talking about Charlie's Angels, okay? I'm not talking about that at all. But if I'm flat here like this, if you watch, sometimes that will drive up and the gun ends up pointed down and I can't control it then. I don't know exactly where the dot is. So instead, I go just a little bit muzzle proud, a little high on the muzzle. And then what I'm doing as I'm driving the gun out, I know I'm bringing the gun up into my line of sight. And then what I am thinking of doing is taking the back plate of the gun and driving it up to my nose. Okay, so I am taking the front of the gun and bringing it up and then driving the back plate of the gun to my nose. When I do that, the dot will come in from the top. And it will come in from the top repeatedly. Now it might come in for you at 12 o'clock, it might come in at 1 o'clock, it might come in at 11 o'clock. But once you start doing this, again, a little bit of front sight proud, and all I'm doing here is I am driving the gun up and driving the back plate of the gun up to my nose. Notice what I'm not doing here is I'm not fishing. So I'm not here and going up and over and fishing. So I'm not coming this way to do that. So I'm not breaking my wrists. I'm not doing any of those things. Once my hands are together, I'm driving the gun up and driving the back plate up to my face, up to the presented at the level of my nose. And that draws the dot in from the top every time. Now, how do you get it to do that reliably? I'm going to show you. You do it in reverse and you do it slowly. When we talk about learning, when we talk, if you want to talk about ultra learning, or you go and read the Talent Code, man, Talent Code is such a great book. I really would suggest that you read it if you want to be great at doing anything. We learn and we build circuits of what is colloquially called muscle memory, okay? So people talk about building muscle memory. Of course, muscles don't have memory. It's neural pathways that your brain uses to tell your muscles to do the same thing. And we kind of build those into circuits, right? That's like when you were a little kid and you were first learning how to brush your teeth. This whole thing felt weird, right? And you had to learn how to do it because it felt weird. But after a while, your brain just knows how to do it, and you brush your teeth today and you don't think about doing that. Similarly, when you learned how to drive a car, you remember when you first learned and you had to take a turn, right? And you had to learn, okay, slow to the speed you're gonna need to slow, then look your way into your turn, start your turn. When you get to the halfway point, when you get to the apex of the turn, you want to so you want to stop braking before you start the turn. When you hit the apex of the turn, you want to start slowly accelerating and roll out of the turn and into the lane that you're going. That's a lot of discrete parts. Well, the last time you made a turn, probably if you've been driving for more than a year or two, you didn't even think about that. You simply, I want to go that way, and your brain programmed the actions that you needed it to do in order to hit the turn the way that you are used to hitting it. Same thing here. You're just going to need time to myelinate those pathways, to learn and to program the neurons in your brain to go, brain, do it this way. Hey, body, do what I tell you to do. I do it in reverse. So here's what we do. We get the gun out in front of us, focused on our target, okay? So we are focused out on our target. Everything is target focused, and we see our dot. Everything's good. Now, I'm going to very carefully go from there to where I'm happy and I know it, and a little bit of front sight proud. Let me show you sideways again. So the dot is out there and on target. I'm looking at my target. Everything's good. I continue to look at my target, come back to where I'm happy and I know it. This is what we call a micro drill. And in doing that micro drill, that is telling my brain forward and back, hey brain, do this. Once I've done this, a few dozen times to maybe even 100 times, where I'm good, I've got it, I've got my dot anywhere in the window, cool. Back to here. Yep, good. Shake it out. Reset. Yep, got it. Back to here. Don't look at the gun on the way down. I'm looking at my target. Then I can start doing both ways. So now I'm starting here. The gun's out here and doing its thing. Yep, everything is good. And now I am going to then, okay, back to the happy place. Happy and I know it. Now, front side a little bit proud. Nice and deliberate here. I'm still looking at my target, and then I'm gonna drive the gun up, bring that back plate. Hey, there went my dot, and it came into focus. Back here. Okay, up, yep, back here. Now I'm gonna tell you that particular one, my dot was on the left side. It came in on the 11 o'clock, which means I was probably over gripping and pushing with my support hand a little bit. Let's try that again. Here it is. There it came right at 12 o'clock. Back to here. To here, got it, yep, back to here. Now, once you start to see the dot, then once you're getting good at that, now that's gonna take you a few hundred presentations, okay? And this can just be a micro drill that you do for a few days, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks. You're gonna say, hey, I'm gonna do 100 presentations a day for the next 2 weeks. And I'll guarantee you, if you do 100 every day for 14 straight days, you will have this down, I promise you. Okay, then once you're getting good at it, you can do it with a little bit more rapidity. When you move the action faster, you're telling your brain, use the pathway you know and make it permanent, okay? So you don't wanna go rocket fast at the beginning, but at the beginning here, again, I'm going very deliberately, there came my dot. Very deliberately back. Once I start getting a little bit better and a little bit more experience and it's being consistent for me, then I can go with a little bit more pace. So then I come up, yep, there it is, and back. Good, up, yep, there it is, back, up, back. And all I'm doing, going from where I'm happy and I know it, a little bit of front sight pride, there it is, and back. There it is, and back. Very good. Now, where does it need to settle down? Depends on your target, right? So just recognize that your dot here, your red dot doesn't have to be over your front sight or your green circle or whatever it is sighting, whatever reticle you've got in your optic. If it's anywhere in the window, the bullet's gonna go where the dot is, okay? So it doesn't need to sit like a lollipop on top of your front sight. It doesn't need to be organized to your front sights at all. If you start shooting at extreme distances, these guys all say these optics are parallax free. We know that's not 100% true, but it's functionally true at any kind of defensive distances. Out to 40, 50 yards, anywhere inside the window is totally fine. As long as you can see it, that is where the bullet is going, okay? And as long as you keep it there. So again, our lesson for this particular one is I'm sitting and I've got it. I drive the gun up a little front sight proud. There comes my dot. That particular one in a little to the right for me. Back to my happy place. I need to drive with my support hand a little bit more. There we go. Got it from the top and back. Now, you might be an overdriver. Okay, so you might drive it up and it comes in and then drops out the bottom. But if that's the case, you're working on it when it's slow. And so if it comes in and you go, whoop, and it went down through the bottom, but I saw the flash of green go from the top to the bottom. So I know, boom, there it is. I just got to bring it back up until I see it again. So if I learn to do this consistently, even if I overdrive, I know where the dot went. And so now I can correct quickly rather than the fishing to go where to go. And we can find it. This is your task for right now. There it is, and back. There it is, and back. Now, once you're getting really good at it, now we can start to do it at actual speed. We drive it up, back, drive it up, back. Now, where do we stop, okay? Depends on how detailed a shot do we need. If we're shooting very quick at a very close target, we kind of go 90% of the way out and then coast the last 10, okay? So we go hard and then coast the last bit. If we need a more refined shot, say it's a 25-yard shot we're taking or something like that, then we do like 80-20. We go hard and then finish with a little bit more. So that 90-10 versus 80-20 is kind of another lesson. But what I want you to get right now is if you want to get good with presenting the dot and you see it every time, use this path, man. Start here. Got it. Nice and easy back to where you're happy and you know it. Drive up. Comes in from the top, happy and we know it. Drive from a little front sight high, back plate up to your nose, there comes the dot from the top every time. If you do that, you will have the dot every time, and the biggest hurdle to adopting the pistol mounted optic is in your past.